Welcome to the show and welcome, my friends. Thanks for coming.
I am in Northern California in the United States.
Awesome. So it's really fortunate that I met Cassie through Molly, my dear friend from Arbonne. And I just really grateful for that the business could be so international, and that is something I'm looking for. Last week is actually the first time I talked to Cassie, and I just really inspired by her philosophy, and that is something I am learning through my journey from, since I have my autoimmune disease, trying to cure my journey. So looking into eating healthier and living consciously, it's something I'm looking for. So can you share the story with us? Like, I love the story about you actually said yourself as a science nerd since 21 years old. So I want our guests to hear about it.
Hi, Lola. Of course. I'm so excited to be with you. And like you, I share a dream of staying connected and building my community and collaborators from around the world. So I am so grateful to be with you this evening. It's in the morning over here in California, just after 6 a.m. I had the privilege of meeting Lola, and what we connected on was our view on the world and really sort of what our role in it now. I'll take you back a little bit to help you understand why I am where I'm at and why I think the way that I do, because I read something this morning when I was meditating to get on with you and was really reflecting on the lessons in our life and how they set us up for really what our purpose is in our world. I am 35 years old. My young adult life was consumed mostly with sort of an eating disorder, a very busy sort of workaholic behavior. And I've come to understand in my adult life that the byproduct of all of that was trying to control things in my life and thinking that if I put a chokehold on it, that I would end up being okay. And what I found is that I ended up just sort of cutting myself off from myself. And I didn't understand that until a few years ago. And it's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about sharing with people about my lifestyle now. What I've come to understand is that, you know, we have this Trinity connection, this mind, body, spiritual connection. And I believe when we come here and we arrive on this beautiful planet that that we're whole, that we are already connected. When I moved to college, I became very aware of wanting to reconnect with my body. I had been living in my mind for most of my life, getting good grades and always performing and being a peacemaker and getting myself involved in everybody else's stuff. And I thought I was being helpful. My name is Cassie, and it actually means helper in Greek. And I thought I was being helpful. I thought it was owning. You didn't know that, right?
No.
I thought I was owning my role in the world. But I found that what I was doing was really cutting myself off from some things. In my early 20s, I lived in a beautiful place in California that has a very holistic environment in Santa Cruz, California. It was a beautiful place to start to learn about food, about the environment that it grows in, about supplementation, which is something I'm passionate in talking about, and became a science nerd, a health nerd, and started reading science books just for fun. And I became really in touch with my body. I learned how to feed my body what was right for me, since we're not all the same. I became very passionate about feeling my best and not necessarily just doing what everyone else was doing. I wanted to dissect my body, and a byproduct of that was creating a really strong mind-body connection. So I knew what my body needed. I could even, down to the food, know what my body needed at that time. I immediately knew what my body didn't want. So I had a really strong connection built and really maintained that, I'd say, and strengthened it over about a decade. I'd gone through some hard things in that decade in my life. The third thing was opened up for me. And about 6 years ago, I started a meditation practice. And I started leaning into things that I didn't necessarily pay attention to before. And I remember sitting in my driveway one day after work. I used to work about 12 hours a day, sometimes more, often 7 days a week, holidays, evenings, weekends. I kind of was my job. I was an accountant. Again, a place I knew I could help people. So I thought that was my role in this world. I was sitting in my driveway, and everybody around the world joining us knows Oprah. So I was sitting in my driveway, and I was trying to find my passion, which is sort of a funny thing to reflect on now when I think about it. I was like, how do I find my passion? This is such a big, important thing in my life. I know my name. I know what I look like. I know where I live. I know my job, which had sort of defined me up until that point. I didn't know my passion, and so I thought Oprah could help. So I started listening to Super Soul Sunday, like on a podcast in the car. Was kind of paralyzed, though. I felt like, great, there's all these people doing amazing things, and they're very clear on who they are. Where do I start? That was probably a really big breaking point for me, to sort of break the chain of living in my head all the time. And I started to listen to different signs that were everywhere. I was eventually led to Gabby Bernstein, who is one of my spiritual mentors. Dr. Wayne Dyer is a big spiritual mentor of mine. I started to find my spiritual practice, and in doing that, I have experienced over the last few years, and I'd say solidly the last 2 years for me, a mind-body-spirit connection that is what I have been seeking. I'm also a mom now, which does play a role in that, because getting to be my daughter's mom, she's 4, getting to be her mom, I also have come to believe some things about the process of her coming here and sort of picking me to be her mom, and what the lessons are for me in that. So that's a little bit of the background. I started partnering with Arbonne, which is how I get to know Lola, 3 years ago. And for me, it really is a partnership. The company aligns with my core values, and I'm very clear on my set of core values now. I want to do a lot of things with this platform and this partnership. And one of the things that I want to do is partner with people like Lola around the world to have conversations that might be a little bit different than what everybody else is having, and help. And we'll dive into this. I know Lola wants to talk more, but really dive into this idea of living a more conscious life, and what that means, and how do you start, and why would you do that, and what are the simple things you can do so you don't have to be paralyzed in your driveway like I was 6 years ago, and you can start to find yourself and do what, and show up in the world to do what you're here to do. So that's a little bit of the background, Lola. Help me with what you want me to talk about.
Our topic today is actually just talk about what you are creating and adding value to the world, especially in the conscious life, and then leading to eating healthy, and then how to start. I think taking action is something people struggle with. I love my mentor. He called Jim Kwik. He always says knowledge is power, but you only apply it at its potential power. So this will be a great way to tell people how to start, like the mindset, the mental habits for that.
Yes. Okay. So I agree. As the girl who's read a lot of books and reads health science books for fun, there's a lot of useless stuff floating around in my head, and taking the time to sit with you today is actually really important to me. I'm grateful to you because you are pushing me out of my comfort zone. I read a beautiful quote from the late Louise Hay, is also a part of my spiritual journey. And she does on Facebook, for those of you here, you can like her page. And she does a first day of the month sort of overview of what the month will be looking like. And there was something to that effect today. So thank you for pushing me out of my comfort zone so I can be with you this morning. It means a lot to me. So where to begin? Now, I told you my story, and what I'd like to tell you is actually, I think the best way to begin to live a conscious life. And actually, before I do that, I'm sorry, I'd like to just sort of explain what I mean by conscious living, because we live in a world now where we have access to everything. And sometimes access to everything doesn't mean that we actually have the real information. It doesn't mean that it actually is helpful information. And we also live in a world that is incredibly fast paced, and we don't necessarily understand the impact of the things that we're doing today, both to ourselves and also to the environment that we live in. So to me, when I've come to understand what I want to say about conscious living, there are a few key elements to that. And one of them is certainly thinking about ourselves and what we can do to ourselves and on ourselves, which we'll talk about when it comes to food, and some practices I think you can start with pretty easily. The second thing has to do with how we impact others, and what we do and how we are in our communication and interacting with the world around us. And the third thing for me is really what we are doing with and to the environment. And so I like to look at these three aspects and make decisions from there. I don't always have the answer, but I do say a prayer, and I said it before I got on with you today, and it comes from A Course in Miracles, and I learned this from Gabby Bernstein. And before I go do something that I don't know what I'm doing, which happens all the time, I say a prayer, and it goes like this: where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? And that is like a guide for me in all areas when I don't know what to do. And it's a way to reconnect all three things for me. So I understand the next thing that I'll be doing or saying is kind of not from me, but it's channeling my inner guide and my spirit. So with those three ways of life, I'd like to break some things down for you and help you understand what it means and what you can do. So when it comes to how you are to yourself and what you do, this has to come first. I remember when I actually started my business, and the reason I started my business with Arbonne is polar opposite from anything I had ever done before. But at Arbonne, not only do we we share this lifestyle, but also we tell you to become the best version of yourself. And I had never heard that before. And I also didn't know what to do about that. And so I spend time every day before I really even interact with anyone, taking some time for myself. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 1 minute, sometimes it's 15. I have a 4-year-old daughter. I don't always get to control that. But no matter what, I take the time for myself. And the time for me looks, if it's the minimum amount of time, looks like some breathing exercises. And I'll go through a couple of things with you before we leave. And the reason I do that is because it creates that stronger connection. It calms the mind. It calms your physiology, and it allows you to sort of move on into the world in a sort of clean, calm, conscious way. And you are actually physically aligning in your body, which is also amazing. I'll talk about that too. I also meditate, which sometimes looks like a beautifully guided meditation that's perfect for the day and exactly what I'm hoping for. And sometimes it's, a minute of just centering myself and getting to set an intention and get the guidance that I'm looking for today. The reason I meditate, and the reason you should meditate, which is not a practice I understood until I was probably too old to understand it, but is because it allows you to receive messages. And we're being talked to all day long. The world is completely connected. Everything is energy exchange and energy based. And so if you can get quiet for a period of time, even a short period of time, you can start to interact with that energy, and you can start to feel and receive the messages that are coming to you. Even if they don't make sense, and even if you have no idea what they mean, you can actually just start that connection. So how simple is that? I can teach you a breathing exercise, and you can sit peacefully and get started. Now, if you're like me and you used to be a workaholic, you're gonna hate starting to meditate, and you're gonna think that you're terrible at it. You too, Lola?
No, I actually practiced for 2 years already, and actually committed to actually practice through my life. But I can totally get your point, because I actually just introduced a friend called Liu, and he started to use Headspace. He just figured out that it's actually really calm him down, and he started to commit to do it every day.
That's incredible. See, you guys, this is why I love doing stuff like this, because every time you do something, you're sending a ripple out into the world. So you can send good ones, we can send bad ones. I can give you some apps that I like and some resources and tools that I like too. But if you're overworked, overtired, and you think you can't get quiet for a few minutes, what my recommendation is, and I had to do this for a long time, is really you have to sort of look at a thought. I read this in a book. You have to look at a thought. It'll pop up. You're going to try to get quiet, and you're going to try to focus, and you're going to think about your to-do list and all the things that you didn't already do. And thoughts are going to come in. It's a practice. You have to retrain your brain. It's a 2 million year old concept up here. You have to retrain it. Notice the thought kind of like a bird. Let it fly through your head and settle on its own. Don't obsess about the thought. Don't get angry that you're having the thought. Don't think you're not doing a good job. Just get into this practice, so that way, the more that you do it, the more that you sit down to get quiet, you'll be able to get quiet. It doesn't mean that sometimes that changes. It does, but start. I love the app on your phone, Omvana. If you have Amazon Prime Music, Gabby Bernstein actually is a free meditation album that is different guided meditations for times of day and parts of day. YouTube is incredible. I love Abraham Hicks, has a great meditation series that you can follow. Those are some great places to start. And I have lots of friends that also use headspace. So don't think you have to become a master. But anyway, so every single day I commit, and it sounds like you do too. And sometimes that's always the morning, and then sometimes it's another time of day because sometimes life gets hard. And then always before bed, I have some sort of recentering as well. So sometimes that looks like meditation. Sometimes that looks like other things. And certainly I read a lot. But so step one is really taking care of you. And here's the thing. What I've learned is that oftentimes when we are disconnected in our mind, body, spirit connection, we want to look around us and find the things that are wrong and the people to blame that are causing a disruption. I've certainly experienced a lot of trauma and hard and drama in my life, and I've been there, and that's being human. But one of the beautiful things about choosing to live this way is taking responsibility and understanding what you have control over, and you have complete control over how you think, what you say to yourself, and how you choose to respond to the world around you. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just start. So start by thinking about what you can do to take care of yourself and do some breathing. When it comes to how you treat others, that was why I shared my other part first. It's all in actually how you treat yourself first and how you take the time to understand that we're all connected and how we're going to interact. A great lesson I learned from Dr. Wayne Dyer is really to not take personally so much what everyone is doing, because no one is doing anything to us. Life is always happening for us, and anyone's behavior is actually a byproduct of what they're going through. So if you can start to see people with love and compassion, if someone's yelling, if there's road rage, if they're angry, if they're mean, they're suffering. So if you understand that we're all one and connected, and instead of get so fixated on holding someone accountable or get, that they're wrong or whatever, and instead you can have human compassion and empathy for people, your world will change. Your world will significantly change, and that will ripple out significantly. And then the impact that we have on the world, I believe that voting with your dollars is important. I believe that you should think about the things that you buy, why you buy them. I think that you should care about where they come from. I think you should support things that are sustainable. I think you should support things that support people all over the world. I'm not very good at doing what I'm told. If anyone from my family joins, you'll second that. I've never been good at doing what I'm told. And my 4-year-old, who asks why all day long, resembles me, and I still ask why all day long, and I'm like an annoying 4-year-old. And so I won't just go buy the thing. I have in my life, you guys, I really have, but in this where I'm living now, I don't. And I believe we overconsume, and there's just, it's our job to think, and that's a different conversation, but those 3 things create this conscious lifestyle.
I think those are like easy tools to really take action.
I want to serve you guys, so Lola's helping me serve my new friends in Taiwan and around the world. Food is one of the most important things. So is water, actually. Your body is almost all water, so you need to drink a lot of water and clean water, and try not to drink it from plastic. Eating healthy, and I don't just mean, I'm going to define healthy for you. Here's why, one of the main reasons I want you to learn about this and understand this. And again, this is probably, diving deep is a different conversation, a longer conversation. We wanted to give you an overview. But what you put in your body impacts how the brain communicates to every cell of the body, how the nervous system functions. I don't think you've ever had to think twice about your lungs expanding and contracting or your heart beating, have you? These are all miraculous things happening. For a second, if you think your life is hard, which we all have hard, I'd like you just for a second to look down at your hands and think about, did you make your fingernails grow? Wayne Dyer always says that. And did you put your hand on your heart? Did you make your heart beat? Have gratitude for the miracles that are happening all day long in your body, and you will start to treat it differently. What we eat matters, because garbage in, garbage out. I'm an accountant. That's like an accountant thing to say. So if we put a bunch of yucky stuff in our body, yucky stuff is going to come out. So how you look is certainly attached to what's actually happening inside of your body. There's so many things here, but everything that is in our body is connected. We are made of trillions and trillions of cells, and your cellular health is completely comprised of the balance of health in your body. And so you can improve your health by making some simple changes over time and go from degeneration to, improving your immunity and improving your health by the health of your cells that regenerate. So if we eat let's say fast food, things loaded with sugar and gluten and foods that are highly acidic to the body, we're stripping the body of its normal process to make vitamins all day long and to make sure your body's absorbing everything that it needs. We're also putting toxins into the body, which then the body has to filter through. It has to protect your organs from. Again, remember, your body's job is to keep you alive. That's its number one job. And it's going to do whatever it has to fight to keep you alive. Even if you don't like sometimes what's happening on the outside, because you think that your body is shutting down, your body is saving you. Putting toxins into the body, we're imbalancing the normal, disrupting the normal hormone balance of the body. We're putting extreme stress on the body and causing lots of inflammation. So there are so many other things too. We're messing up the brain's ability to think and to function. We're imbalancing our sleep, which is regenerating our whole system. Everything in nature serves a purpose. And if you think of all these things happening in your body on its own, if you feed it fuel, it will use it. And it will use it in the best possible way. So my philosophy on eating healthy, first of all, is eliminating a few things that cause a problem. Now, you don't have to eliminate these things forever. You could eliminate them for a period of time. What's beautiful about doing that is you allow the body to reset and understand how something affects you. Because Lola, for example, cannot have any gluten at all. And that's a different conversation too, because gluten today is not what gluten used to be. Gluten is not the same all around the world. You know, again, voting with your dollars and understanding where your food comes from is super important. I shouldn't have gluten all the time, but gluten just gives me a little bit of a rash. That's all that gluten does to me. So I know that though, because I've taken the time to figure out how things affect my body and how my body responds. So if we take some time to eliminate some things that are very allergenic or highly addictive, which is another conversation, you guys, if you're eating fast food and you're eating sugar all the time, you have an addiction, no different than my eating disorder was when I was a young adult. You have an addiction and it's not your fault. You can get over it. You just have to want to take a step in the right direction to start to make some of those changes to improve that. Eating from the environment is so important. Eating plant-based is important. I'm not saying you have to be a vegan or a vegetarian. That's not for me to say that for you. Understand where your food comes from. So if we're eating meat, understanding how it's raised, what's in it, what's not in it. If you've ever traveled to other parts of the world and you see cattle, for example, in its natural grazing state that isn't being raised to be necessarily like massively butchered, cows are actually supposed to be kind of skinny. They're not supposed to be super fattened up with all these extra things and additives just to feed the masses. That's not how your body functions optimally. Your plants should come from the ground and clean soil that you understand where they're coming from. They shouldn't be sprayed with pesticides and a number of other chemicals that are breaking down the nutrients in the food. So understand where your food comes from. Again, we can have a longer conversation for a different day, but at the end of the day, when you give your body healthy nutrients that are balanced, eating proper protein, healthy fat, carbohydrates, and lots of vegetables. When you give your body a balance, you're giving your body a chance to function optimally with its hormones, with its cell regeneration, with your nervous system, with your mind and your processing there, and you're getting rid of the chemical disruption. Now, this is important for so many reasons. For your body to be able to function optimally, you can function optimally. You can have better energy, you can sleep better, you can get rid of brain fog, you can lose weight, you can get rid of inflammation and less pain. There are so many byproducts that are great. I'm very passionate about this. When you clear toxins out of your body, you guys, one of the things that you do is you eliminate the chemical messages that are incorrect, that are passing through your brain, through your body, and you create clarity. And when you create clarity, and you can actually then create this connection of mind, body, spirit again, and you can come back full circle to where you came from, and you can start to live consciously. So this is why I care so much about this. I care about you, I care about your health, but I also care about you creating that connection again. So that was a lot.
Emphasize first on the why, because everyone's like start to listen to their why to doing this, that makes the action easier. It's not doing for others, it's really just doing for yourself. Yeah, and we are just here to help people to achieve more. And because we have gone through the process already, so that's why we are here to help and thrive together.
This week, we want to talk more about why a community support will be better, why the masterminds matter, and how they can help you to achieve the vision and goals you set.
Awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today, you guys. Hi, I'm Cassie Bangeter. I live in Northern California. I'm a little slow this morning, so it's 6 a.m. my time. Lola and I have been talking about this idea, going on a healthy living journey in a community and what that kind of looks like, and pulling together some information that we all have that could benefit you. I'm going to first jump into some things that are healthy living questions. Yeah. So I'm a healthy living coach with Arbonne, a company we talked a little bit about last week. And we have a really unique program that partners the program piece with coaching, easy buttons, and a community, which I actually think is one of the most important parts. We were talking about what are some of the common questions that come up when looking to start some sort of program, or specifically our program. So the number one question is, do I have to cut out the foods that we eliminate forever? Forever, that's the word. Let me tell you really fast the things that we cut out, because, oh, it's so funny. I remember telling my husband, I'm like, one day at a time, just one day at a time for 30 days. It doesn't have to be your whole life. So we cut out things that are highly acidic, probably an allergy, and usually addictive. A lot of them feed a candida overgrowth, which causes a different sort of imbalance in the body. So we cut out gluten, which also would be like wheat derivative, anything with, with brewer's yeast that's going to grow. We cut out dairy. We're the only species that drinks milk from a different species, in case you were wondering. We cut out coffee, which is highly acidic. And the thing is it's not that it's so terrible, but it's one of the most sprayed pesticide crops in the world. And there's a lot of things that can come from that. We eliminate soy because of the sourcing and oftentimes the processing filled with GMOs and other kinds of things can disrupt your hormones. We eliminate sugar and any sort of artificial sweeteners, and we eliminate processed foods. And then last, we eliminate vinegar. So these things, so when people go, do I have to cut these things out forever? I'm like, no, just the 30 days, and really strictly for the 30 days. And I'm going to combine this with another question that we get all the time is, what happens after 30 days? After 30 days, we're going to reintroduce the things that you want one at a time and give your body a chance to understand how it's affecting. Because gluten's going to affect Lola different than it's going to affect me. But once you know, you feel empowered with the choices that you can make going forward. Nothing is forever. I live my life like an 80-20 balance most of the time. 80% of the time I'm on track on things that keep me well, but then 20% of the time I know how things affect me and I make choices. For 30 days, we're going to exchange out these ingredients, but we're always going to give you something back. So we're never going to take something away from you without helping you understand what you can eat instead. One of the other questions I get all the time is, what do I eat? We give you recipes and grocery shopping lists, and we eat whole foods. We eat delicious, delicious whole foods that build together into a hormonally balanced meal, which is something we'll teach you about in a little bit and why that matters. We eat lots of vegetables, lots of dark leafy greens. We eat clean, healthy, complex carbs like brown rice. We eat, lean protein for people who are eating meat protein. We also eat, different vegan protein sources. We eat healthy fats. We eat really delicious, amazing food.
Do you know your body type affects how you absorb nutrients? For example, me and your body type is similar, yoga, Pilates, but I actually do CrossFit. So that is a new finding I learned from you guys. And I think it's really beneficial to share with more people.
I love it. Okay, so Lola and our friend and I were talking the other day. We were describing our friend Molly was on the phone with us, and Molly and I are dear friends, and we love to talk about nutrition and all the science with your body. And we were talking about how Lola should be eating right now. And we kept making not modifications, but some indications that she and I are very similar, and Molly and I are a little bit different. So we dug into that a little bit more. One of the things I've always been fascinated about is, I mean, you could look around the world, right? And look at healthy people. It's hard to look at people that are metastasizing, like, you know, fat and toxins in their body, because you can't really tell the difference. But if you look around, you can see people who, you know, are built a different way. There's like sort of some lean, long people. There's people that can build up some big, bulky muscle and look really strong. And there's variations of different body types. But one of the things I learned about 15 years ago is how with your body type, you kind of play a different role in society, actually. So there's lots to this, but the basic, you could kind of split people into two, even though there's lots in between. So there's not just two, but you could kind of split people into sort of like a hunter, and then people that are more sort of like a cultivator. And hunters are like, they need a lot of fuel because they need to run. They need explosive movements. They need high intensity constantly. And then of course they need to do some of the things that we need to do to repair and to change up their muscles. But those people are going to eat a heavier meat-based diet, less complex carbohydrates, and in some cases even less fat, you know, lots of vegetables. People like Lola and I are more like cultivators. And I always go back to evolution when things evolved for a need for us in society. And people like Lola and I would be sort of like harvesting rice and beans and in the garden working. And so we don't need these like intense, explosive workouts all the time. Certainly there's a place for them, but our body responds better when we're giving it exercises that help the muscles lengthen and lean out and stretch out. And so we benefit from more like a Pilates or a bar or a yoga type workout, but mixed in definitely with getting your heart, you have to get your heart rate up, no doubt about it. But we would eat something that might have the same amount of vegetables, but a little bit more complex carbs, probably a little bit less protein. Certainly we can avoid animal protein altogether, and more of a healthy fat content. So it's how our body absorbs the nutrients and converts them into fuel, and how our brain functions a little bit better. So it's just fascinating to me. So those are some things. But I think the question that Lola's posing to you is, did you know that? And what kind of body type do you think that you have? Does your body respond better to some high intensity, or does it seem to respond better to more of a yoga, peaceful, calm type workout?
I think that this is a really interesting conversation, because before talking to you guys, I thought I'm more a hunter type. But you guys know me better, so it's like, no, you're probably a cultivator. So it's really interesting to have these knowledge and talk to more people and share about it. And this could be the long-term goal and long-term solution to the healthy living. And I actually just earlier watched a really nice YouTuber. Her name is Pickup Lines, and she talks about the healthy living. It's not just like this diet plan or next diet plan. It's more about the long-term behavior. So setting up a long-term behavior is what our goal. It's not about this diet plan or that diet plan, but it's worth trying out to learn more with a mastermind group. Yeah, right? Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think it's so great because once you start to figure out how your body responds to both food and to exercise, it's an empowering thing. And then you can sort of like make things what you want and build your lifestyle versus, trying to constantly fit into a box of somebody else's. What's the latest fad? What's the new diet? What's the new exercise? But really figuring out what works best for you. That's great.
That was the old me trying to test on myself without actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I went through that too. I think, well, that's how you kind of learn. And then, that's what's leading us to the conversation we had a week ago, right?
Yes. I want to ask again about our guest. Do you know hormones balance is key to your healthy routine?
Yeah, I think this is a great question, you guys, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments about this and take some time to respond to you. But I'll tell you, again, in our conversation last week, one of the things that came up is that, I've been studying nutrition for about 15 years. When I came to the Arbonne Healthy Living program, the thing that made the biggest difference to me was that we paired together hormonally balanced meals. I'd never heard that term before. In all the books that I had read, I'd never really heard that term.
No.
And now I just had a baby, so that was a little bit different. So I thought, oh, I need my hormones balanced. But you guys, we have so many hormones in our body, and you know they're controlling so many different things and responsible for so many different things inside our body. And also, you know, when we're out of balance, things are affected, right? Our mood, our weight, our ability to, if you're female, maybe your ability to carry a baby, and different kinds of things. Your adrenaline, if your adrenals are burned out and your adrenaline's going like crazy, your hormones can control really the quality of your life. So when we talk about lifestyle, we're talking about lifestyle. It's so important because we don't always realize until something's really wrong that really the hormones are what are out of balance, right? You might hear, oh, I think I have a thyroid issue, or oh, I have this. And really a lot of this can be controlled with food, and it could take a while for you to reset your system, certainly. And again, we focus on 30 days and beyond to create a lifestyle. But when you pair the right foods together, your body can absorb the nutrients and it can rebalance everything in the body. And so for me, I was on a plateau for a couple of years, actually. I didn't realize why I was stuck. So then I was like reading more and doing more things. And I did the program and literally not just got off the plateau, but really sort of like, you know, had explosive results after that. And the key difference for me in that was pairing my meals together correctly. So I think you guys know from last time that I had an eating disorder. And so I had to rebuild my metabolism. And so I thought that I was keeping my metabolism good by eating every 2 hours and snacking. And yes, I would pair some things together correctly, but I got rid of that from our program and instead started to pair 50% of leafy greens together, and then a ratio of the other things that we need to pair together. And I had more energy. My hormones were balanced. I slept better. I was more patient. My mood was improved. Really, I could feel, because my adrenals were pretty taxed out actually from a really stressful life and career that I had before. So I think it's a great conversation. We'd love to know in the comments, do you even know about hormones, or what do you think about them? And do you understand that we have the ability to actually improve how your body functions by balancing them out through food?
I'm so excited because these are just so new to people, especially myself. I don't honestly have lots of hormone imbalance infected my mood or stuff, but definitely it affect my gut. So it's really interesting to know more through different perspective. And I heard a lot of my girlfriend, they actually do have bad mood sometimes, and once we figure out it's actually hormones and it's actually come from your food, that is so important, right? And you can kind of fix it. Next questions will be, what's up about your plan with your husband to do the 90 days program, which is triple our 30 days healthy living program?
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this because I can get comfortable sometimes living in a balance of, when I say 80-20, what I mean, guys, is 80% of the time I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, eating hormonally balanced meals, not eating the things that don't serve me well. And 20% of the time I just kind of do what I want. But I'm committed. And so is my husband for 90 days of a healthy living reset. I'm so excited about this because it's not always easy to get the spouse involved, but a couple reasons why I'm doing it. So we have a 4-year-old and we would like to expand our family. Hormone balance, like we just talked about, is one of the reasons that we're doing this for 90 days, just to make sure that it's the best opportunity to allow my body to do what it's supposed to. But also it's important to detox the system in a natural, gentle way, which is what we do in our 30-day program. But I want to be really diligent about kind of cleaning out my body and creating a good, host to carry a baby. I want to put as much nutrient density in my body as possible. What happens when your cells turn over in your body, there's, I was reading this little kid science book to my 4-year-old yesterday. I was like, I should read this to them tomorrow. But, your body has trillions of cells and there's different kinds of cells and they all function, and your body's miraculous. As your cells turn over, the health of the nucleus of the cell determines the health of the next cell. And so I just want to give my body, in turning over the cells, the best possibility in terms of hosting a baby. And then also with my husband, his health matters. His health matters in terms of his sperm and in terms of the health and the life that we live. And in terms of his ability to help me during the process, I got really sick in the first trimester of being pregnant with my daughter, and that could happen again. And being on the best game possible, plus the mental clarity that comes, is amazing. You sleep better. So looking to re-energize, rebalance hormonally, improve sleep, and really feel like a partnership going into the partnership again of hopefully having another baby and expanding our family. So we made a tough 90-day commitment, and we're having a lot of fun pairing meals together and him prepping. So that's a little bit about why we're doing it. It's kind of partly health part. The other part of it is the partnership, the community, the relationship part of it as well.
I love it. Love to share more about. I just went home for Mother's Day this weekend, and yeah, my daddy, my mom, they actually got the shakes to try it out and gave feedback and what they would love to learn more. So we talked about we are going to build up a new kitchen and studio so we can make the food together. So it's just so much excitement going on. And just thank you guys to coaching me for so much more. I'm just so happy for the community because you guys build up the community for me, and then I am doing the community for myself and then my family. It just, it's just so rewarding because it's just daily lifestyle you transform into another way.
What I love about what you just said, Lola, is how your excitement for what you're learning and what you're doing in your own body, and you're kind of like, we're the same, like we like to test things out, ripples out to your family, to your parents. And like we love our family and we want to help give them the best health possible. You can't make people do certain things. And so I love that we can take one thing that we're doing and be able to help somebody just in the smallest way, sort of ripple out what's, and they might start to feel a little bit better. And then they go, oh, maybe I should do that too. And oh, that feels really good. And it's just amazing that you guys are doing, something together too.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a fun sharing for people who haven't started yet. They might not really feel our excitement. So we can talk more and answer some questions such as, so how to set goal? How can they start to set the goal? And then how can they actually, if they mess up, do they start all over again? I think that is the scary part for the starter.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Is it forever? So I think from a goal perspective, I'll take that one first. I always tell people, I like to look at a swimming pool. I like to tell people, if you want to tiptoe into the kid end of the swimming pool, or if you want to dive into the deep end head first, we can serve you. And the reality is, if somebody wants to improve the quality of their health, even the smallest amount, I'm going to match their effort and work with them on that. I love when people are ready to reset their whole body for 30 days, but I certainly have people where it's like, they can take a protein shake. And quite honestly, the way we build it hormonally balanced, there's more nutrient density in that one meal, guarantee, than they're absorbing all day long. So I'm happy to work with people wherever. Maybe I could just have them start to improve their gut health in one way. I definitely like when people are ready to do a 30-day reset and then help them rebalance afterwards. So we can totally work with anybody regardless of what they think that they're ready for, and just want to help people improve the quality of their health. I think the other question is, it's not forever, you guys. Like, we want to build a lifestyle. Actually, our program, like Lola, the gal you were watching earlier, is called 30 Days to Healthy Living and Beyond. Really, the goal here is to give you healthy tools. 30 days, you guys, is also a way to develop a habit, right? It takes 21 days for you to develop a habit. So 30 days also helps you maintain a habit and move forward with things. So the goal is to give you tools and resources to empower you to be able to move on and sort of live your best life, whatever that looks like for you, or maybe just incrementally improve the quality of your health. So it doesn't have to be a one size fits all, but we do have the tools and the program, the package, to make it really easy for people who do want to just do the 30 days.
Love it. As a coach or coaches like us, we really understand the importance of customized, personalized and individualized. I think that is what make it really beautiful, because everyone have different needs. For example, myself, I have autoimmune disease, so I'm testing myself into doing gluten-free 30 days. Today is actually day 30. And for me, it's actually super hard because I was a bread addict. I love bread. Although I thought myself eats healthy bread, but it's still bread anyway. The first week is horrible. It's just miserable. But now after 30 days, like, oh, my mom is asking me about it. I'm like, yeah, it is day 30 today, but I'm in urban 30 days healthy living, so I'm doing another 30 days. And now after you got educated and you train your mind about it, you actually just get into that habit, and you know when you are always going to pick something, you know, oh, this probably could hold on. I could pick this instead. So I think it's a fun journey that we really invited our friends to join us to experience it themselves. Yeah, we talked a lot about it, but it really needs to take action. And I love you read about. It's either you want a little bit or you want actually fully committed to 30 days. It's all right. We are welcoming all kind of people who just want to have a transformation life experience.
I love it. You're exactly right. Yeah, you don't have to fit into a certain box for us in order to serve you. We want to serve you wherever you're at and help get you to where you want to go, whatever that looks like. So goals, I have all kinds of clients with different levels of, of health goals. But one of the things I really do love is the empowerment that you get when you know how you feel. And so you've been without gluten for 30 days now, you're going to go on your 60 days. And it's really amazing to go, oh, I was actually reaching that for maybe some sort of hormonal issue or some sort of emotional issue, and not even actually because your body really wanted it. You'll come to find out that your body didn't really want that ever, actually. So
yeah, today is a great talk. I think we cover a lot of fun and really resourceful things. Myself, I just want to say thank you again, Cassie. Well With Cassie is her website, and we just love to talk about these nerd stuff and really educate people in a different level. It's not about what news talked about or what we want to sell you something we talked about. It's more about this is a tool. We use it and we liked it, so we recommend it and use it as a tool to help more people, to inspire more people. But it's not necessary to sell you about it. So that is something I wanted to share with more people in case they have many concerns. How about you?
Yes, exactly right. Just to give value and add and some education a little bit, and maybe get you thinking about some questions. Again, put your questions in the comments. Doesn't really matter what it relates to that we talked about today or health in general. We're just looking to be able to serve you and pass on some of our information to be able to help you. I always love getting up for you, Lola. I hope you sleep great tonight.
Thank you. I think next one we will opt for talking about supplements. So
I love it. Okay, great.
More excitements coming up. I think getting into nerd stuff is fun too. Yeah, we will talk about
fun.
Simple stuff, but we will talk about nerd stuff because I think
nerd stuff is always good.
Yeah, well, but both serve audience fine.
I think it's perfect. Maybe I'll bring you some of my daughter's science books to the next one.
Yes, guess what? Last time people actually asked for that puzzle. I posted and my
friend, they did?
Yeah, my friend's like, hey, I want to buy that one.
Let me see if I can grab a link for it. You know what? I got it from my favorite bookstore here is local, and it's so cute. But I'm sure. I'll find it, and we'll get a link over to you, Lola. And then I'll show you guys my favorite kids science books. They're amazing. Yesterday, literally, my daughter wanted me to read her this whole section in the biology book. It's so cute. The kid book, how it breaks down every single part of your body and relates it to the next in like a character sort of format. And it's not too much information, but it's also great information for kids to be able to take. So we read that whole section yesterday, and I was like, oh, I should bring this on tomorrow.
Yeah, we could do that for next one, since I am taking my personal fitness trainer exam this week, and I have been using my app to, there's a Human Body 2018 app, and it's so good. And yeah, because the book, it just not suit me well. The 3D app, it just so well. I can know, oh, how they actually flex and stuff,
Wow.
and I can learn more. Yeah.
That's
So,
amazing. Okay,
I
everybody,
appreciate
wish
that.
Lola luck. You're going to do amazing on your exam. Amazing.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Just on time.
Sleep well, my friend. Bye, you guys. Thanks, Lola.
Bye. Thank you, guys.